So we'll go ahead and get started in the supine position. So really just to begin with some breathing. And if it feels best to have your feet flat and your knees bent to relieve any pressure in your low back. And then just taking a minute to arrive. So the spine's on the mat and the shoulders as much as possible. Hands can be on the belly or the ribs or the sides, anywhere. And then, just any breaths that you want to take, 5 to 10 deep breaths just to sync up. So you can keep that breath going however it makes sense. And then we're going to go ahead and just stay in that same position, but begin just a little bit of marching. So pelvis is nice and rooted, stable here, but just trying to keep everything on the ground, just kind of lifting one knee to the chest and then the opposite knee. Bringing that light movement to the hips. And then adding on with a little firmness in the belly, we'll bring the up to a 90-degree angle there. And similarly, just tapping down 1 foot at a time. Those gentle marches, paying attention to the low back curve. Nice and controlled. Maybe try both toes at the same time and then back up. Yep. And then let's squeeze the knees together and the hands can be in cactus or near the sides. And just working a little bit on firing up those obliques. So legs are zipped together, taking it to the side, shoulders stay down. Inhale back to center, second side. So a couple more like that. And then if you wanted to add on, from the center you can extend the left leg and then take that over to the right and then swap the legs. Beautiful. And then just kind of squeeze the knees into the chest and roll around, kind of opening up the back and the hips. And then rocking and rolling, so gently kind of rocking and rolling up. And then coming up to sit, and then eventually over to your table position. And cat-cows. Yeah. So rooting like the plants and then opening up from the center. And let's just, from the table, neutral spine, we'll go ahead and stick out the right foot to get into this inner adductor. So trying to get a stretch there, any kind of movement back and forth. And then if the cat-cows help here, but extending that right leg, so we're getting into the inner thigh. Yep. And then just second side there. Yep, so then back to table, and we'll come into so hand behind the head, and just do a few rotations where we're inhaling and then tap in the wrist, maybe like 3 to 5. Then on the last one, we're just taking the thread, the needle. So nice warm up through the sides of the waist, and then taking that nice thoracic stretch. There you go. Elbow up to the ceiling, and then trying to extend from the crown of the head through the hips. Yeah, those deep breaths. Yep, and then just to the second side. There you go. A few deep breaths, letting the side open up. And then back to center. If it feels good to go through some cat-cows, you can. Or let's then come down to the belly all the way. And then just a little spinal extension. So any kind of length that feels good without overarching, just warming up here. All right. And then kind of coming back up to the table position again. And we'll just take the right foot forward for the low lunge. And moving back and forth, really just finding range here. Since you have such an established practice, like whatever you need, whatever you want to open up to, mainly just opening the hips here. And then eventually kind of coming into the hamstring stretch with the right heel down, straightening the leg. There's blocks if you want them. And on each side. Yeah, there you go. Big full breaths. And when it's appropriate, just back into the low lunge to see kind of if you can get some more room and space in there. Okay, then we're gonna turn towards the sound bowls. And this foot's out, so I'm gonna demonstrate here. So it's like this, modified side plank. We're gonna be right here. Yeah, so if you need that block for your hand to kind of, but first we're just gonna really get all that length in the hip, really root down through the right foot. So much pushing through the left knee that this whole right side's opening up. Fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna add on right hand on the right hip, and then we're just gonna do some leg lifts. Yeah. So if you can have the nice straight line, and then as much as you can, exhale, really use that right glute and kind of pulse it up. Yep. And then once you do like 5 pulses or so, then you're just gonna hold it up. Yep. Really use that right heel, lifting it up. Awesome. And then just back down and stretching it out. Modified side plank. Amazing. Then we're gonna add on, so I'm mirroring now. Here you're stretching. You're gonna stretch, inhale, exhale as much as you can, elbow to knee. Yep, just like that. Let's do 5 of those. 3. Good. One more time. Stretch it out as much as you can. Root down through that foot. Beautiful. And then when that feels complete, we'll just kind of come back to like a cat-cow position or anything in between that feels good. And then we'll make our way to the second side, which is going to be that left foot forward first in the low lunge. Yep. So just gradually making our way around the hip. Yep. So the side's going to be a little different probably. And then when you're ready from the low lunge, we'll go to the hamstring stretch. Yep. Using those blocks, making the arms longer. And then if you want to have the bend in the knee, and then imagine that sit bone going back. Yeah, there you go. Big breaths. The nerve flossing here is if you want to point and flex your foot, that left foot. And you can even move the foot side to side, like little waves, whatever little movement, it's going to kind of get into those spaces. So just following that with those breaths. And then when that's complete, we'll go back to the low lunge, find a little more space now that that hamstring's a little open. And then eventually that modified side plank series on this side. Yeah, so really just root all the way down. So the pinky toe edge, pushing, and then, yeah, beautiful. Deep breaths there. So this is like a really nice opening. Terrific. And then when you're ready, we'll take the left hand to the hip and then start those lifts. Yep. Paying attention to the low back curve, really trying to generate the movement from that hip. Good. And then we'll, yep, hold it. Fantastic. Then we'll stretch it all back out again, as much length as possible. And then when you're ready, we'll do those crunches, elbow to knee on the exhale. Re-extend, big length. Good, and then release. Gently come back through your cat-cow, and then you can go through your belly to a cobra or eventually just downward facing dog. Awesome. So, you know, explore your down dog. You can pedal the feet, move the hips around. We'll do a few standing sequences, kind of building on that. So when you're ready, let's extend the right leg up. Really big, open the hips even if you want. And then big exhale, let's go ahead and step the right foot in between the hands. So really extending out here, hips nice and wide. And then left hand down, just taking a nice, easy twist. So rotating the upper body while the lower body stays stationary. Then we'll release on the exhale and press up to our crescent lunge. Awesome. Any version, hands can be on your hips, at your chest. Strong legs. And let's find that one point to focus on. So steady the gaze and then just go ahead and step up to that single leg balance. And then pause here. Okay, so from here we're going to go into the half moon pose. So you can come down to the right hand with the block. So basically block to the hand, and then we're going to open the hips to the left side. So similar to that modified side plank. So really just lifting that left heel up and opening at the hips. Good, strong leg. Big effort. If you want to raise your hand, you can. A couple more breaths. Then we'll just gently come to a standing forward fold, feet at the top of the mat. And then inhale, halfway lift and extend. Exhale, fold. And then we'll just plant the hands. We'll step back. And if you want to lower for your vinyasa, or you can go straight to downward facing dog. There we go. Couple breaths here, and then we're going to do the second side. Yep, real big stretch, open the hips. And then come in for the lunge. Taking a second to extend it. That looks awesome. Oops, let's go twist. So from this lunge, it's okay. Then we're just going to go take this twist so that we're getting that thoracic rotation as the hips are moving, opening up. Pushing down through that left foot, big toe, big breath, and then exhale, fold it in. Yep, and when you're ready, hands on the hips, just press up, crescent. Or let's just pause here at this lunge first. So kind of getting that left foot in and that left glute. Hips are really open. And then now we're going to come up and press up and pause and balance. Next move is going to be left hand to the block and then opening up the hips. Yep, hand can go on the hip if that's easier. Main thing is just that top leg fired up. Looks great. Then when you're ready, folding it in front of the mat. Big exhale, fold. Inhale, extend, halfway lift. And then let's just come all the way up to standing, nice and tall, reaching high. Maybe even side stretching. And then next big exhale, just folding it in and making your way to downward facing dog. All right, one more standing sequence. So we'll go right leg high, and then stepping through, opening up to your warrior two. Right leg forward. Yeah, so hips nice and open. Focusing on that kneecap, yes, good adjustments. Awesome, so pushing through both feet. Any stance, if you want to leave it there, widen it, and then shoulders away from the ears a little bit. And then let's just lean it forward and bring that forearm to the thigh for our extended side angle. Legs stay where they are. Next move is just reverse, really reaching as high as possible. Excellent. And from here, we're going to go into the half moon. So straight, right hand down, left arm up, into that, lifting the half moon pose. So here, thing, and then lift that back leg. Bam. Yep. And we'll gently go back to warrior two. And then reverse warrior or triangle. Just a little more stretch on the side. And then let's windmill the hands all the way back to the front of the mat. And then step back to plank. And then downward facing dog. Or you can move through your vinyasa. Yep. Super. So left leg high when you're ready, and then into your warrior two. Big breaths, and then shoulders away from the ears. There we go. And then maybe a little micro adjustment with the left knee. Yep. Push it through that foot. Maybe the knee a little more forward. Over. Yep. There we go. Now we'll just take it to the extended side angle. And then big reverse warrior when you're ready. Make sure that knee's going up that way a little bit more. Yep, good. Adjustment. And then taking all that length to the half moon pose. So left hand on the block, right leg lifts. It looks better. And then when it's right, we're going to go back to warrior two. And then even just straighten the front leg, just reaching back. And then just let's go ahead and step forward to the top of the mat. So just at the top of the mat, we'll just reach our arms up. Big exhale, fold, kind of just realign, shake it out, stretch anywhere that feels good. And then when you're ready, big reach up, standing nice and tall. And then we'll come into the malasana squat. So any variation with blocks or not. Let's stay here for about 3 to 5 big breaths. That's excellent work. On the next exhale, we'll just straighten the legs, feet forward, and fold it in. And let's come back up to standing nice and tall. Real big reach, hands to the center of the chest. I just want to take that one more time. I feel like you can get it back in there a little bit better. About 3 big breaths. Really imagine from the tailbone all the way through the vertebrae to the crown of the head. Big extension. And then the last exhale, just fold it. Excellent. And then let's just step back into downward facing dog. Not too much more. We're going to kind of bring it down now. And then right foot in between the hands for the low lunge, bringing the back knee down. And then coming into lizard. So if you want to have blocks here, we're really just trying to, sink in. You got it. Do you want padding for your knee? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so big belly breaths here. From this one, when you're ready, we're just gonna kind of come to a plank. But basically we're gonna, instead of a pigeon pose, we're gonna go 90-90 or Z legs as they call it. So here is the main one, but then the feet are flexed, and then real big, trying to sit as like even and straight as possible. Yeah, use the blocks, they're our friends. And then basically kind of folding over, getting real into that hip on the right. And then deep breaths. Big, if you can get that right. Are you feeling it in the right hip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Yep. Yeah, so nothing should be hurting. And the more you can kind of get both shoulders over that right shin, you'll probably get it in there a little more. But trying to keep the neck relaxed and all the other stuff relaxed. And then just coming out of that to, nice and easy, protecting all the joints, basically using the hands as a platform, and then going to downward facing dog or whatever makes sense. And eventually bringing the left leg forward for the lunge. And let's go lizard. So yeah, here, and then trying to come down on the forearms, just really getting all into that left hip, glute, and low back. Big belly breaths here. And then again, imagine the spine extending. And when it's the right time, we'll just transition into that 90-90 with the left shin forward, find the length, and eventually folding over, but taking time. Can you bring the right knee up a little more?
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that one tighter?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so big breaths. You can use the blocks if somehow that helps. Is anything hurting or tweaking?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's just tight. So there you go. So let's go 5 big breaths, like really exhale, focus. Bringing the belly in on the exhale. Oops, my bad. Sorry about that. And coming out of that, taking your time, eventually making our way supine. So just kind of laying on the back, feeling the mat. And we can go ahead, do the figure 4 right here too. So but both knees bent, right ankle over, yes. And then, yeah. So couple last hip stretches here. We'll try to relax everything down. If it's too much, do you need a strap? Or you could just try to release and hold that. Mainly just really melting. From here, you can go right into the twist if you want. So left foot down, yep, taking that. Awesome, arms can go extending out. Let's just try to get the shoulders on the ground. Yep, good. Let's go 5 deep breaths here. Yep, so same thing on the other side, just taking your time. Figure 4 stretch. If you want to extend the exhales, it's going to help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, so just more relaxation. And then move it into the twist. Nice and easy if you want to take a happy baby pose or any other kind of final pose before the final rest. Yep. So good effort now is total relaxation and integration. So the challenge now is to let go of everything and to be in stillness as much as possible for these few minutes that will be here. So I'm going to do the sound bowls, and then you go ahead, and then I'll give you a few seconds at the end. All right, here we go.